Can you be a graphic designer? Is graphic design easy? All graphic designers do is make flyers and stuff, right? I use Canva all the time. Don't that technically make me a graphic designer? Well, yes and no. Here's the 5 top misconceptions about being a graphic designer. What's the deal, y'all? How y'all doing, man? Been a long day for me, but guess what? I'm still out here getting it in. Hey, look, hope y'all doing well. I'm all right, you know, I'm decent, you know what I'm saying? My man told me, I asked my man the other day, I said, how you doing? He said 70%. I'm about 92% right now, so you know what I'm saying? I'm all right. Anyway, I am V, I'm your host for today, and today we're gonna talk about the common misconceptions of graphic design, right? So, a lot of people just think graphic design is just this thing that like you could just do, like, you know what I'm saying? Like breathing, like, you know, graphic design is nothing. There's really more to it than what a lot of people think. And today we're gonna get into the top 5 misconceptions. First off, I'm gonna say, when you're thinking about being a graphic designer, a lot of people get deterred, right? They be like, I can't draw. I can't do graphic design. Well, the thing is, you don't have to be able to draw to do graphic design, right? Graphic design is not all about physically being able to draw or digitally being able to draw, right? Graphic design is about being able to compose more so than actually draw. Now, there are certain aspects of graphic design where you have to learn how to draw, like where you have to be able to draw, like doing background art for video games or character development for comics and stuff like that. Now, that part of graphic design, yeah, you have to be able to draw. But in order to put together a flyer, you don't have to be able to draw anything. Really, it's all about how you can compose these images. I could take an image of a person, I could take some words, I put them on a background, I put some text here, some text there, and maybe a border, and bam, got a graphic design. You know what I'm saying? I haven't drawn anything. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to be drawn here. So, you know what I'm saying? That's just like, you could be a person that does calligraphy. You know, you could just make letters and make the letters look beautiful. There's also interior design. Like, you could be a person who, in 3D, puts together rooms. You know what I'm saying? This is all part of graphic design, though. And this has nothing to do with drawing. Now, fortunately, I can't draw. So, you know, this is me saying you don't have to be able to do it, but I can't draw anything from out of my head. I can only draw what I see. So I can draw a comic book character that I saw, put my own little spin on it. I could do that, yeah, sure. But like just drawing straight off the top of my head, got nothing. So that's the first misconception of being a graphic designer. You do not have to know how to draw. Don't let that deter you, man. All right, now let's get into the second point. Now, the second point is contrary to what I just said about the first point. You know what I'm saying? Everybody cannot be a graphic designer. In order to be a graphic designer, it takes some type of knowledge, right? Some type of know-how, some type of understanding of exactly what you're doing. I see a lot of people who refuse to hire graphic designers, right? You seen them. You seen the flyers that look terrible. You seen the invitations that look horrible. You know what I'm saying? This is horrendous. Why is this? All right, whatever. I guess I'm gonna go to the event, I guess. But I shouldn't go just because this flyer look like this. You know what I'm talking about? Like, everybody cannot be a graphic designer. Now, there's industry standards that you have to know. You have to understand a little bit about composition, you know, what stands out, how to make it stand out, how not to. A lot of people do this terribly, like stretching pictures out of their constraints. Like, you have a picture that's this size and you want to make it bigger, but a lot of people just stretch it this way instead of stretching it. You know, that's just little things that you need to know about graphic design. Colors, what colors work well, you know, stuff that I talked about before. Fonts, what type of fonts you should be using, font size, white space. All these types of things are, you know, graphic design, but you have to have a little bit of knowledge. Do you have to actually go to school? Not really, but you better get your YouTube on. You know what I'm saying? Don't just jump out there thinking that everybody can do it, because everybody does not have the skill set that they need to be a graphic designer or to be labeled as a graphic designer. So if you've never done graphic design before and you want a flyer or you want some type of promotional piece, I advise you to hire an actual graphic designer. You know, like somebody who you've seen do the work or that you know, heard of, or something like that, because it's not for everybody. It's not. You can't just jump in here and just act like you gonna be, you know. Anyway, the third point is, leading directly from my last point, it's not necessarily easy, right? As a graphic designer, I get a lot of revision work, right? I submit something, they send it back and say make some changes. They feel like, the client feels like the change is easy to be made, right? Just say I make a flyer that's kind of full, and I made this flyer to fit specific guides and standards and guidelines, and they come back and say, we want to put more into that. Let's add an extra paragraph. What? An extra paragraph? Now I have to resize everything in this whole flyer just to make this extra paragraph fit. But the client feels like it's just a paragraph. Just add the paragraph. It's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? Just change this color. Changing the color could throw off my whole color scheme, right? If my color scheme is red and black, and now you want me to change this black to green, just say, now this looks like a Christmas flyer. You know what I'm saying? Instead of it looking like a sleek, kind of cool flyer, now this red and green gives off Christmas flyer vibes. Now I have to change the reds to make, you know, to make it balanced, to make it look more presentable. And these are the things that I'm saying that people don't understand. Like, it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? Now, it may come easy to some graphic designers after a while, but just for a client to think that because they had this thought, it could be done like that, it's not how it works. When you add extra elements, when you take away elements, when you resize things, when you ask for these extra things to be done, it may result in a graphic designer having to do a project completely over. Like, it might just not work. So it's not easy. It's not. I just make it look easy. You know what I'm talking about? Nah, but for real, it's not easy. That brings us to the next point, right? You know I hate it. Photoshop. Photoshop. Listen, everything is not done in Photoshop. You cannot just Photoshop everything. When you want somebody to take somebody out the background, Photoshop, cool. If you want to make a composite, you know, possibly blend in two pictures or something like that, Photoshop, cool. But if you want to do logos or some type of design that's on scale, you probably want to use Illustrator. If you want to do magazine layout, you probably want to use InDesign. If you want to do XYZ, you probably want to use something else. Photoshop is not everything. People feel like Photoshop is everything. No, it's not. It's not. It's more. Graphic design is more than Photoshop. Everything isn't done in Photoshop. That's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Like, if you into typography, you don't want to use Photoshop. You don't. You want to use Illustrator. If you into magazine layout, you don't want to use Photoshop. You want to use InDesign. If you're into motion graphics, you don't want to use Photoshop. You want to use After Effects. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about Adobe, as you can see, but it's more than Photoshop, is what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to put all these programs together to make exactly what you want. A lot of times I use InDesign, Illustrator, and Photoshop for one project, and After Effects for one project. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times I use multiple programs for one project. So it's more than Photoshop, people. People, hear me out. Photoshop is a lot, but it's not everything. Last but not least, I would like to say that all graphic designers don't do everything. You hear me talk about typography a lot, right? I don't necessarily do typography. It's not my forte. I'm not really that good at it. You know, I'm decent, like, you know what I'm saying? I can get you a project now, don't get me wrong. But typography is not my thing, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of graphic designers have a weakness that's not their thing. Cartoonography might not be a person's thing. Magazine layout might not be your thing. You know, it's a bunch of things that graphic designers do. Some people specialize in certain things. Like this guy I watch on YouTube, Shy World. All he does is take pictures of people and makes cartoons out of them, right? He has his own little style, it's nice. You know, I learned a lot from him. But that's all he does. I've never seen him make a flyer. I've never seen him do a ad or a billboard or anything other than making these cartoon characters. People, graphic designers, specialize a lot of times in what they do because that's what they're good at, that's their strong suit, and they stick to it. Hey, I ain't mad at them. I do a little bit of everything, but you know, what I say I'm great at is everything. No, I'm playing, but I'm serious. But you know, people specialize is the point I'm trying to make. People specialize in stuff. So that's the topic for today. I forgot to tell y'all to follow me, didn't I? So follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, follow me on YouTube, obviously. You know, hit the likes, hit the subscribes, hit them comments, tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you don't like about me. I want to hear it all. So, you know what I'm saying? Hit me up. You got questions, you can hit me up on the email. That's it for today. Clay Vision Designs, I am V. See y'all next time. Peace.